I made over $100 million before turning 30, and all this money came from a ton of different industries and businesses, from real estate to technology to private equity to trucking businesses. And while I've made a lot of money, I've also lost a lot of money, from blowing up companies to losing millions of dollars on new ventures and having to start over more than once. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the 7 moves that I made that actually helped me get to $100 million, compressing the last 10 years into this video. So you can actually go out there and copy these 7 moves in your business or in your life to make more money. Move number 1 is to pick a large vehicle. And no, I don't mean the car that you are driving, I mean the business vehicle that you are actually operating in. Every time that I got stuck, I realized it was because the business vehicle that I was in was just too small. And I would start in a business vehicle, I would scale it up, and I would eventually hit this ceiling. And you learn a lot by taking a business from nothing to hitting the max in that business vehicle that you're kind of operating in. But then you have to find a new vehicle, and it maybe is a little bit bigger. And then from there, you have to find an even bigger vehicle in the biggest vehicle you can possibly think of, which is private equity real estate, which pretty much has unlimited scale. I can scale up this business to infinity. But over the last 10 years, I have had many different business vehicles that have stacked up to actually allow me to build the skill set to get into the largest business vehicle of them all, which is private equity. And for me personally, my story is right out of college, I started flipping houses. Then I did 50 houses in a single month and realized that wasn't gonna work. And I started teaching people the education space. I scaled that up to $1 million in a single month. And then I realized, I don't really like this business. This business is really tough. It's gonna be really hard to scale past this point. Sure, could I get it to $3 million a month and sell it? Yes. But maybe I can just pivot into a larger business vehicle. And that business vehicle became buying apartment buildings. Then I started buying apartment buildings. Then I had ran out of money buying apartment buildings. And I realized I need to partner up with other people because I only have 100 doors. How do I get to 10,000 doors? Well, I have to do private equity. So that kind of allowed me to go from flipping houses to hitting a ceiling to the education business. So with every single pivot that I made, I just changed the business vehicle that I was in, which allows me to make more money. And the most money in my life is when I actually changed the vehicle and the business that I was operating in, which is pretty funny. So if you currently have a business or you run a job or you're thinking about starting a business, just think about the business vehicle that you're in and make sure you're picking a good size vehicle. And if it's not a good size vehicle, that is okay too. Just know that you're gonna go into this business to learn a skill, right? Like flipping houses, you're not gonna be like, oh, flipping houses, I can only make, $1 million a month. If you're making 10,000 bucks a month, that sounds fucking great. So go ahead and do that. But just know that if your goal is to get to billionaire level status, you're not gonna get there by flipping houses, but you have to start. Move number 2 is kill the good business. Now, what I mean by that is sometimes you have to kill the good business in order to start a great one. When I was flipping houses, it was a good business, but I had to kill it in order to start a great one, which was the education company. And my profit margins with flipping houses was 15%. Profit margins with an education or an online learning company is 80%. So I had to kill the good business in order to start a great one. And then I killed the education business, even though it was 85% margin and making $1 million a month. I realized that I had to go bigger. And how do I get to 10 million or $100 million a month? And how do I get recurring revenues? And how do I get all these different aspects that private equity gets me, but an education company doesn't? And so I had to kill the education business in order to start the private equity business. And pretty much every entrepreneur that I talk to is just super scared to let go of what is working. And I know that it can be scary to kind of let go of your golden goose, but there are different ways to kill your business. For example, giving the employees equity, making somebody the CEO, taking a step back from the business, being part of the board of the business, but not running the day-to-day so that you can focus on the next business vehicle and the larger business vehicle. Because once you've run a business for 3 years, 5 years, you have hit the ceiling of the business, you have hit the cap, it will not grow anymore unless you push really fucking hard, but then you just don't have enough time in the day or enough energy to do so. Then you just maintain that business, right? You bring in people, they can run the business for you, give them equity into the company so you can focus on the next thing. Number 3 is to stack skills, not businesses. I'm 30 years old and I've started over 30 businesses in my lifetime. But with every single business that I started, I wasn't just doing it to collect a new business and to try something new. Well, maybe at the time I was, but looking back on it, every single business that I started, I was actually learning a different skill. And those skills also start to stack. So you learn how to do a website, do an email list, write an email, write an ad, film an ad, be on camera, film content, short form content, long form content, hooks, bodies, CTAs, landing pages, right? There's all these different things that you learn, and those come from different companies. You might not learn that from a service business from walking dogs, but you might learn that from starting a tech company or starting an app, which I have done as well. And the real value of starting all these different businesses, looking back on the last 30 years of my my life, starting all these different companies allowed me to learn these skills. And these skills is what my true value is. And I was actually recently listening to a Tony Robbins podcast. And on that podcast, he was in a really, really dark place. And he said, I'm going to lose it all. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to have to start over. And the person who was mentoring him said, Tony, you don't have to start over. You have the skills. You can go and do, like, you started here. You have done all of these amazing things and you have the skills to be an amazing entrepreneur, an amazing business person, amazing husband, right? You are not starting over. Even though you feel like you are going to start over, you are not. You are 10 times better the person that you were when you first started, right? When you first started, you probably would have taken a job at McDonald's, but now you would never do such a thing because you have the skills and you have network and resources and different things that you can do that you couldn't when you first started. So therefore you are a better person. You are a better man from running all these different companies. And actually one of my businesses that was making amazing money, it was making $1 million a month in revenue. And we were taking home, 20-30% to $200,000-$300,000 a month in take home. And this business was doing fantastic. After 24 months of running it, the company just started slowly going down. And we were trying to do everything we could to fix it. We couldn't figure out what was going wrong, but like marketing was going up. The salespeople just weren't closing at the rates that they were when we first started. The leads showing up from the paid ads were not showing up to calls. We had all these different issues with the company. And so it slowly just started, revenue started going down. And it wasn't just me. I think it was the whole space, the whole niche that my business was in at the time. I started talking to other people that had similar companies, competitors. They were all noticing the same thing. And I was like, holy shit. I was getting really down on myself because I was like, I was supposed to be this like good entrepreneur that has all these different skills and I've been running businesses since I was born. And it just doesn't make sense why this business is failing and suffering. And, I had to go and look at myself in a mirror and be like, what the fuck? You can't even fix this company. Like, what is wrong with you? You don't have any skills. And so I really started to doubt myself and think that I couldn't go out there and actually start a company or manage a company or run a business. I didn't have the skills. And I was like, well, I better get my resume ready for Subway or McDonald's. And I guess I'll just do that because I don't have any skills. And that's when that Tony Robbins kind of clip came into my mind too. And I was like, no, you know what? I have fucking skills. I know how to raise money. I know how to invest in real estate. I know how to buy apartment buildings. I know how to do all these things. And so as that business was kind of struggling, I was like, you know what? This might just not be the business for me. And not every single business that you run is going to be successful. But what is the next bigger business vehicle that I can focus on? And maybe I'll just let this business die or bring it down to a point where it's very manageable and I need to focus on the next big thing. Move number 4 is to find the leverage. When I first started investing and running my businesses, I was doing everything. The emails, the bookkeeping, the sales calls, the finding the deals, the raising the money, everything under the sun, I was doing it. Looking back on my life, the times in which I made the most amount of money is when I brought on somebody or automated something or just deleted stuff from my life. And what I typically deleted or offloaded or gave to other people was the low-level skills that took a lot of my time, like emails and bookkeeping and sales calls and different things like this that weren't really moving the needle forward. So I would take 10 different things on my to-do list and hire somebody or delegate it to somebody else to handle those things so that I can focus on one thing or two things. And then every single day, as long as I got those 1 or 2 things done, I knew that I was pushing the needle forward for the business or the company. Instead of keeping myself busy with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different things that kind of just maintained the company. And so you, as the face, the founder, the business owner, the person that's in control of your life, if you don't have a business, you have to make sure that you are focused on the things that are pushing you to the next level, that are helping you get closer to your goals. Everything else, just fucking delete it. And it's gonna cause you some anxiety because those things are kind of keeping you afloat and keeping you busy. But I guarantee you, if you take all that time, you're focused on the bullshit and just focusing on 1 to 2 main things and pushing the needle forward there, you will make more money. And this leads nicely into number 5, which is to leverage other people. So there's 2 ways to leverage people that I have done over the last 10 years. And number 1 is easy. Leverage other people's time. Just like move number 4, which was to delegate to other people, you can leverage other people's time. You pay them for their time to handle the bullshit items so that you can focus on pushing and engineering your life forward to the next level. And number 2 is to leverage other people's resources. And for me, that has been the money in their bank accounts. So little story around this, my dad and I were making amazing money flipping houses with businesses, all that kind of stuff. And we started buying apartment buildings for tax write-offs. Started buying these apartment buildings. We were like, screw this. We don't need anybody else's money. We'll just do it ourselves. We don't have to deal with investors and all this kind of shit. And so we started buying these buildings and we bought around 100 units of apartments in a nice little area, nice little zip code. Once we hit 100 units, we were like, oh shit, we ran out of money. And we had 100 units. We were maybe making, I don't know, $10,000 a month from the buildings. It wasn't that much money, but we did it for the tax savings. So we got a lot of tax savings from that, bonus depreciation. We looked at each other and we were like, what the fuck? Okay, well, like, what if we want to make make $100,000, $1 million a month from our real estate portfolio. How can we do that? And it's like, well, shit, we're not gonna be able to do that with our money. It's gonna take us 1,000,000 years, literally. So we looked at each other and we said, shit, we gotta bring other people into this game. And we didn't do it then. This is like fast forward 5 years later to today, when me and him sat down again and said, okay, I think it's time. Like, the market is good for multifamily. We have enough skills in order to raise money at large amounts of volume and scale. We can go out there and make content and help other people invest in real estate, and we can have them invest alongside us to buy these apartment buildings. And that's when Red Brick Equity was born, which is the company that I focus on and run today. And I encourage you to do this because if you have a big goal, if you have a big dream, I encourage you to figure out if you want to do it with your own money because of your ego and because you don't want to deal with other people, or do you actually need other people in order to get there? Because for me, when me and my dad were doing it ourselves, yes, it was cool. Unless you come from a family of wealth or you have a lot of fucking money or resources already, it's going to be really, really tough to actually, if you have a very large goal and large dream, to actually go out there and do it without the involvement of other human beings. And so it's also more fun to do business with other human beings. So I would highly encourage you to write down your goals and look at the math. The math is going to tell you that you're going to need other people involved in what you want to do in order for it to be successful. Move number 6 is to build equity and not just your income. A lot of people don't have equity or ownership on their vision board. They just want to make more of an income. And an income is great, but you always want to have a place that you are making an income from. So this is going to be like your active business or your job. And you always want to be investing as well. And your investing is your equity, it is your ownership. You can invest in companies or real estate or other kinds of deals that are out there. And you want to have both of these going simultaneously, your active income and your passive income. Because when this goes away or this gets bigger, you also want to grow this. And you want to start investing early so that you can test out different ways you can invest that you enjoy, so that when you do make more money from your active income, you can actually have a place to put it. And you test it out with small little bets. Like, for example, this week I wrote a check for $10,000 to one company as a new test, and $10,000 to another company as a new test. Because for me, I run Red Brick Equity and a couple other businesses that are kind of my active income, and passively I invest in those deals. So I kind of have that going on, and I invest in my own apartment building deals, but I also have other people's companies and other people's funds and other private equity deals that I'm investing in. And I'm testing different things all the time here with my investing business, so that once this goes crazy and start making more money, I have different ways to distribute my cash and invest it in other people's time and money and energy. But a lot of people just focus on this. You got to start adding this. Even if you don't have that much capital, I want you to start focusing on investing and make some small bets. Move number 7 is to stay in the game longer than anybody else. Remember what I said earlier, once you have the skills and once you're in the right vehicle, the only thing stopping you from actually hitting that goal is what? The time. And it takes fucking time to make money. I have the skills of a billionaire. I'm in the vehicle that can create a billionaire. What do I need now? Time. Sure, you have to do good business and there has to be yada, yada, yada. And sure, there's going to be failures and disruptions and all this kind of stuff. That's part of it. But the last piece is you have to stay in the game long enough in order for you to reap the benefits and to actually accomplish those goals. Nobody became a billionaire because they had a billionaire skill set and a vehicle and then they became a billionaire overnight. It doesn't work like that. It does take time. Even starting a Facebook or the next Twitter, it does take a lot of time in order to start those companies, which are crazy rocket ships. So that's how I made $100 million before I turned 30. I chose the right business vehicles. I focused on skills. I invested into different things and built up equity instead of just building up my income. I use other people's time and money and resources to further myself and also to do business with other human beings, because you have to if you live on planet Earth. And last but not least, I stayed in the game long enough. I've been in this game for 10 years and I still think I'm at the very fucking beginning. I know everybody says that, but I literally feel like this is my first year in business. I just turned 30. I'm in the biggest business vehicle I've ever been in, and this is the beginning of the end. What I mean by that is, I can run this business for the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I can keep doing my thing. Sure, there's gonna be different things that happen along the way, but I'm in it. I'm done. Now I just need time and I need to do what I'm very good at, and I'm gonna be doing that for the next 60 years. Now, if you already make good money, if you make over 200,000 bucks a year and you wanna get involved, you can actually work with me directly. So click the link down below, top of the description. If you don't make over 200,000 bucks a year, if you're not there yet, totally okay. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.